The following statement has never been released to the public. It's the statement of Elizabeth Fletcher, better known as Lizzie Fletcher. Lizzie Fletcher was in a relationship with Patrick Tate in the month before his murder. The following statement is from the 9th of the 12th, 1995. I met Tony Tucker at Club Art nightclub in Southend about 10 or 11 months ago. I was working there as a bar supervisor / receptionist. Tony runs bouncers and doormen and owns a security firm. I used to talk with Tony and got on well with him. He used to talk continuously about his friend Pat Tate, who was in Whitemore prison. Tony arranged that when Pat came out of prison, I would meet Pat, as he thought we would get on well. On the 7th of the 11th, 1995, Pat was released from prison, and I arranged with Tony that I would meet him and Pat outside Club Art at 8:30 in the evening of Thursday, the 9th of the 11th, 95. I arrived at 21 hours, just as Pat and Tony were leaving. We then went to a Chinese restaurant in Southend where we had a meal. Later that night, I went to Pat's house in Gordon Road, Basildon. We got on really well together and began going out together. We had a sexual relationship. In our short relationship, I stayed at Pat's house nearly every evening. In the weekdays, I worked during the day, but at weekends, I would stay during the day as well. Most evenings we stayed in, but we did go out to nightclubs like Raquel's and Berwick Manor in Raynham. We only stayed at Raquel's for half an hour, so Tony could talk to the manager as he ran the doorman there. The people that Pat went around with was Tony Tucker and Craig Rolfe. They were very close and trusted each other. I don't think Pat trusted anyone else. Pat owned a black Mercedes E-registration, but sometimes he would go out in a blue Range Rover with Craig and Tony. Craig always drove. Tony lives with Anna. They have been together for quite a few years. Through Tony, I met Donna Garwood. Tony looks after Donna. Craig lives with a Donna. I cannot recall her last name. If we went out, it was normally with these people. When we went out, I found out that Pat and Tony were well respected by everyone we met. I was not allowed to talk to people Pat did not like or respect. I think people respected Pat because he'd been to prison for armed robbery, and he was a big man. He was 6'2" and 19.5 stone. The following page of the statement is missing. Said he'd call back at 1400 hours. At 1400 hours, he rang back and apologised for being annoying earlier. He said, "Don't contact me, I'll contact you." Between 16:30 and 17:30, he rang me up at work again and said, "Sorry I haven't been able to talk. I've been really busy. They're picking me up about 6:30. We're going out for dinner." I never questioned Pat about anything he did. We arranged that I would see Pat Friday night and he would call me. This was the last time I spoke to Pat. On Thursday the 7th of the 12th, 95, my friend Angela Platts rang me at work and told me that 3 men had been shot. She rang me back a little bit later and said the 3 men were found in a blue Range Rover. I thought it sounded like Pat, Tony and Craig. On Friday the 8th of the 12th, 95, I saw the television news and confirmed my suspicions. It was Tony, Craig and Pat who'd been killed. Now, obviously there is this page missing within this statement of Lizzie Fletcher. From what we know, it was Lizzie that was with Pat Tate the night that he rang Roger Ryle to order the pizza, then not long later going down to the London Pizza Company and attacking Roger Ryle. But after the calls were traced back to Pat's bungalow, he was never arrested or even questioned about the attack on Roger Ryle. One of the big mysteries over that is, did the Essex police know what was going to take place on the 6th of December? Were they advised from someone above that Roger Ryle must not press charges? Or is it the simple case of Roger Ryle heard about the reputation of Pat Tate and was warned by the police, if you do press charges, Pat would have likely returned to the pizza company and paid Roger Ryle another visit? Interestingly, Albert from TMI mentioned on his Liquid Bullet interview that the interviewing officer did not believe Lizzie Fletcher's statement and scribbled on the top of it of his disbelief in what Lizzie Fletcher was saying. Whether this is true or not is hard to say. Perhaps the missing page of her statements mentioned the polo that Pat dropped off on the evening of the 6th of December. And if within this statement Lizzie Fletcher mentions the time that Pat Tate dropped off the polo, then it would make their arrival at Workhouse Lane a lot later than we are led to believe, just before 7 o'clock. And that would throw Darren Nichols' version of events up into the air.